Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Good morning, everybody. I'm a little bit behind, but we're still here at the open. Just come over here to the DOM here really quick. We are getting a little bit of down movement, but the open has been pretty quiet, I would say. So I think I'm going to hold off here. Probabilities and everything to me appear that we should move down though. Yeah, look at that. Okay, that's enough for me to think that maybe I want to go in. Let's check the charts and explain why here. So if we look at the E-mini, we had a good move up and then, a little bit of just kind of retracement. So that kind of looks like a bull flag to me. And here in ZN, we've just been on a really big run. 2 days up, probability are that we will move down today. And quite frankly, when I look at the probabilities, or sorry, not the probabilities, but like the CME tool and the chances of there being rate increases or drops, there's absolutely no chance of there being any kind of rate increase as far out as the CME Fed tool shows. And there's actually now saying a 40%, it's really kind of more 50-50, but they're showing a 40% chance that we'll have a rate decrease this year, which with the E-mini at all-time highs is a little bit crazy to me. So I believe that the Treasuries here, we've had some auctions and stuff, and let's check that out here really quick. Let's move it back over here to the main chart. So Treasury Direct.gov. Upcoming auctions. So yesterday we had the 5-year 425. So today we have 4 and 8 week Treasury auctions. Oh, and a 7-year. Okay. All right. So I think that's basically the gist of it. I think where we're at. I don't think there's any. Well, there's the 6:30 news, of course. So always the unemployment changes, and then we're going to get core durable goods month over month. So they might not want to push the lows of the day until that news hits, but they are hitting pretty aggressively there. I don't know. Well, iceberg at 14.5. We'll see. We shall see. Also, going on today, Joe Biden has announced his presidential bid finally. They were saying that he was going to do it Wednesday, and then nothing happened, and then they did it Thursday. I'm not too impressed with the rollout so far. There is like a complete blackout on this story on Reddit. I'm not seeing anything about it on Reddit. It's kind of crazy. Crazy, guys. Also, Donald Trump tweeted something that I thought was significant. As has been incorrectly reported by the fake news media, I never told then White House counsel Don McGahn to fire Robert Mueller, even though I had the legal right to do so. If I wanted to fire Mueller, I didn't need McGahn to do it. I could have done it myself. Nevertheless, Mueller was not fired and was respectfully allowed to finish his work on what I and many others say was an illegal investigation. There was no crime. Headed by a Trump hater who was highly conflicted and a group of 18 very angry Democrats drained the swamp. So the big thing that the Democrats have been singling in on over the past day is that McGahn has been asked to testify before Congress, and they seem to think that this is going to be the thing that they get Trump over obstruction of justice for. I don't think so, and I think that he pretty much just squashed it right there. Not that they're not going to try, but I think that the chances of it, his testimony, leading to anything more, I think, is very low. Anyways, good morning, everybody. I see Uzi and Rong already in there, and Anthony. Oh yeah, Anthony, I haven't seen you in a couple of weeks, so welcome back. You think you're here to say maybe now it's the time that Bitcoin finally goes down? Okay, well, I don't like that tick up there. Should have tried to take it off at 14.5. Looks like some people took some profits there, and now we're stuck underwater. Nobody's hitting into 15.5 though. I have to say, the selling yesterday morning when we came in was pretty good, but then this morning, hardly anything. So I'm wondering. Okay, so den tick pretty strong. It's some pulling at 14.5. They might be messing with people here. Anyways, kind of looks to me like now all the guys that just bought Bitcoin here are probably going to start getting nervous, especially if this takes another step down and gets below 5,000. Then it's really going to be ugly. Because a lot of people bought. Boom, boom, boom. Now, 1462 bid at 14.5 in the 10-year, and they're not going for it. Nobody's hitting it. I'm actually wondering if my data stopped there, but I am seeing some level 2 changes. But it like completely died. Completely died. Okay, so they are pulling here. Let's see. Okay. Well, I could have held that, but it's fine. Durable goods 2.7% versus an expected 0.8%. Yeah, I could have held that, but you don't want to hold it into news, so it's fine. It's fine. It just kind of sucks the way that works. Okay, let's get back to the comments here. Oh, he just says I was just busy. No matter what, I accumulate. Okay, I gotcha. I don't know. I think that we're getting some pumping here in Bitcoin. I don't think that the movement that we've seen is organic or backed up by fundamentals. Okay, they're fighting quite a bit there at 14. Hmm. So are we getting a rate lock here? Yeah, I see that we have a good number of viewers again today, and bright and early, so good for you guys. I've been concerned lately that some of the newer guys aren't waking up early enough, and yeah, now we're getting good numbers early in the day, so good job, guys. Hmm. Okay, there they are hitting 13.5 now. It's pretty aggressive. You can see that they're iceberging, but it just goes gunk, 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 and look at the orders come through. How come I'm not seeing the orders over here in the, oh, because I have a size filter on. Here, we don't want that. Get rid of that. Okay. Now I can see the orders coming through in the 30-year. Okay, they made it go offer. Nobody's hitting 13 yet. Well, I think that we could see, well, so some targets here. 11.5 is the first one, is the first spot that I see. Oh, by the way, I didn't see, we missed the, what was the jobs claims? Jobs claims was 230 versus an expected 200. So actually more jobless claims than expected, but not necessarily a huge deal. Non-defense aircraft new orders up 31.2%. Defense aircraft new orders up 17.7%. This is coming from the Capital Goods Orders report. Scott Adams says, 2 minutes into his official candidacy for president, human gaff machine Biden praised the slave owner, endorsed Antifa, and spread the most damaging race hoax in American history. He did what now? Oh, I have to go and watch that now because we haven't seen his is that like his announcement speech? He uses a sharply worded video on Twitter to announce his decision, saying the country is a battle for the soul of the nation because of the Trump presidency. Okay. Where's this video? I want to see it. We're doing, I think, well, I don't know. I think we got a pretty good trend going on here, but my VWAP bands are saying that it was maybe a little much. Yeah. Nothing traded into 13.5 yet. Okay, there's one. Apparently the bob spread is steepening. I am seeing this 2s and 10s is steepening a little bit. Kind of getting some weird, but I also see some flattening like in the knob, so we'll see. They might need to take a rest here, but there could be further downside. Oh, you know what? I never set my stop. We can do that too. Yeah, I thought so. I feel a little bit paralyzed here because I don't want to. Your chances of getting filled on limit are kind of difficult. Like if you get filled on limit, you probably don't actually want to be, at least on the buy side, right? There's probably going to be some people though wanting to get filled at 14.5, and I think that I don't. We'll see. We'll see. Welcome to the Sleepy Race Show. I can only hope you have the intelligence long in doubt to wage a successful primary campaign. It will be nasty. You will be dealing with people who truly have some very sick and demented ideas. But if you make it, I will see you at the starting gate. That's hilarious. Oh, man. So let's see here. Dennis posted some pictures here. Okay, so they didn't completely fill everybody there at 14. And they ticked down. And some of this size that was down here, when we first went up, I was a little disappointed because it looked like it was thickening up. But now that we've ticked back down, it kind of looks like it's pulling. And Dennis says, yes, the 30-year versus, oh, it's ZB versus UB. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Okay. And they take 13 offer with only 938 contracts. Jeez. So that move up was definitely to scare people out and get some fills, huh? Because they take it down way too easily. That is way too easily. And that 12.5 is pulling when they take it down. Well, that's only 1,500. I guess I shouldn't read too much into that. And the 5-year doesn't look quite ready to go yet. And then they're stacking up a little bit too at 13 now. And now it's pulled. So that was, what, 6,000 at one point? No, this was the one that was 6,000. When we tick down through here, I think that probably 3,000 will trade here. But when we tick down here, how much of that's going to pull? If we tick down here. I shouldn't act so confident. The market maker will be like, Seth, you're getting a little cocky. Are we going to have to make a big move against you? Okay, so we tick down. None of it is pulled. Not that time, at least. And he's stacking it. And the 5-year is kind of looking like it's going to range here. This could be a tough one because there is an auction today. So there is probably going to be some buying. We might see a very, very difficult and slow mover. and that we're at 3 ticks and they're kind of stopping is kind of like reinforces that it's like a slow creeper. This one's hard to trade. Yeah. See, the thing that makes this one hard for me to trade is that now it's going to make me think, okay, we need to get out and just get +1 because it looks like that there was a reversal there. But there's a really good chance if I do that, that it's just going to tick right back down. And there's also a pretty good chance, I think, that they'll go through that big size there at 14 and then move down. Because there's not a ton of activity, so whoever's trying to accumulate contracts here is having a hard time getting all of the cells that he wants. And so it moves down slow, you get these kind of stoppy things, and then it turns around. And then if it does go through, you get like this crazy reversal that just flips on its head. So I think in this situation, I mean, I've had a hard time trading these before, but my experience has been in the past that the best thing to do in this sort of a situation is to just be really, really patient. And if they do flip it on us, then okay, wasn't worth it anyways, and we just hands off. Obama on Biden. Great vice president, but you're on your own for the nomination. Really? Right, really? He said that. Former President Barack Obama expressed support Thursday for Democrat presidential candidate and former Vice President Joe Biden, but stopped short of making an explicit endorsement for his longtime running mate. Obama, who has remained active in politics since departing office more than 2 years ago, has offered Biden more than he has to the rest of the Democratic field, as the 19 other candidates are all vying for attention and support and anything to boost their campaigns. President Obama has long said that selecting Joe Biden as his running mate in 2008 was one of the best decisions he has ever made. Says Obama spokesperson Katie Hill, he relied on the vice president's knowledge, insight, and judgment throughout both campaigns and the entire presidency. The two forged a special bond over the past 10 years and remain close today. It's not a real endorsement. I don't know. It's interesting. I've seen some comments. So, for instance, his campaign manager, what is the guy's name? It's that white guy with the mustache. You know what I'm talking about? I don't remember his name. He was kind of sounded interested in Buttigieg. I'm not saying that correctly. Buttigieg. Anyways, nobody knows how to say his name. But he sounded interested in him the other day. And I was actually seeing the guys on the right were attacking him for the first time yesterday, mostly making fun of his name. So I think that Obama world is not all that enamored with Joe Biden as a candidate and are looking for somebody else. And Beto was a bust, and now maybe they're thinking maybe that Buttigieg is their guy. There you go. Interesting. Okay, so there was a hit there at 13. They took out 1,500 contracts. Even though in the 5-year it looked like that there was a good chance that it was going to tick back up in range there. So that's a little curious to me that they sold there. By the way, we have been seeing a little bit of up movement in the E-mini as well. That may have something to do with the down move. And I'm seeing a little bit of movement in the yen. Just tiny little move up. Not anything too significant though. The other currencies are going up though, so we may have some currencies moving against us. Peter says he is a buyer of dips today. If you haven't picked up on the Thursday pattern and hold until Tuesday, shame on you. No, I haven't picked up on that. But that would make sense to me. Well, I'm going to have to do some statistics on that one. Let's check up here on... oh yes, Datamish. I still have that up. I can still see more longs bailing. There's not very many longs left in the margin side. That's interesting. Okay, so decent hits at 13.5. I haven't gotten John's notes this morning. Okay, so that time it tick up and pretty strong bid at 13.5. And they do have 2 6s down here. It looks like there's some pretty strong support there. So well, I don't know. So it's getting hard to read the ticks because when it ticks up or it ticks down, they're offering and bidding quite a bit. And some of those are pulling really easily too. So like we said, okay, there was 3,000 stacked there at 13.5. Half of that pulled. And if they decide to sell through 13.5, how much is it actually going to take? It might not even take 1,500. It might take 3,000. It's I can't really tell. So that makes the calls a little harder for us. I am seeing a teeny bit of perhaps a sell in the 5-year though. Tiny bit of a sell, but that's after a pretty decent buy there. Yeah, so on the question about what stats do you use, so for this one, where Peter says you should buy on Thursday and then sell it on Tuesday and hold it over the weekend, I would just write up a Ninja Trader strategy that would buy it based on a specific time and then backtest it and see what happens. And that's how I would gather the stats for that one. Well, there's a little bit more balance here at 14 than I would have expected. Okay. They do seem to be reacting to the ticks up and down in the 5-year. So that's one thing. There's nothing trading into 13.5 in the 5-year. Yeah, see it ticked back up. Hmm. Yeah, the 5-year is being pretty. Uh, it's playing games here. The thing is that my indicators, my columns here in the 10-year tend to indicate buying, but in the other two, they're not really very clear. And the E-mini did move a little bit lower there, and I think that is part of the reason why we moved up in Treasuries. We don't know which way the E-mini is going to go yet. I wonder, because we're coming up here on when I might want to take a trade in the E-mini, and I'm not so sure that we could be doing a short, you know, because it's kind of there at an extreme. Yep, and there's some buying into 14.5 now too. That's a bad sign. About 900 declared, but they did make it go back offer again. And the liquidity, it's not stacking super strong, but it is stacking behind us. So I think maybe we're seeing it a little bit too late, or we've just been too patient here. I don't know. Well, I did say that there was a chance that they were going to go through this 14 and 14.5 area and then maybe go back down. So I think I stick to the original plan, but probably my probabilities at this point are probably random. Okay. Downtick, but not a super significant one. Just still kind of balanced at 14. Not trading it. Oh, okay. There's some into 13.5. Oh, so just a few traded into 13.5 and they pulled. This seems very choppy. Yeah, Lucas is saying the same thing. That's funny. I say choppy, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I don't have the chat open. Let's look at the chat, and then yeah, that's the first thing that I see is Lucas saying, "Yep, it's chop." This whole area between 14.5 and 12 has been choppy, and there has been chops both ways now. Good morning, Ace. I think you missed your sell already again. 29.34. Earlier than normal, too. Nicholas Leopold. Hey, thank you for coming by. How did you find the channel? So is it, you mean you're going to turn here, or I think that appears to be what they're maybe looking at in the 10-year. It feels, just based on the upticks and the downticks, they seem to be very much in chop and being moved around by correlations. The 6J did take a step up there, though. Oh, it just he says just YouTube. And it's interesting when I go back and I look at the stats. The vast majority of people find the channel through suggested features. Maybe I should, like, you know, go on a big advertising campaign, but like whenever I see that, I think so. Like, there's this trading room that I kind of think is kind of a scam, and they are so aggressive. You go into the Facebook groups, they got people posting in the Facebook groups. You go on Twitter, they got people posting on Twitter every day on Twitter. It's like, man, and when I look at that, I'm like, you know, I would never be, this is so hard. Trading is so hard. I would never actively promote and try and persuade people to trade futures. It's like, unless they already had an interest in doing it, that it's probably not for them, you know? And so I've kind of taken the hands off, like, we'll let the people that are looking for it find it, and they'll find it. And those are the people that we want. I think it's been going well so far, but, you know, maybe. Researching on order flow and bonds. Cool. Well, I think I'm not the expert. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to, I'm not a guru. Sometimes I do really shitty. But we are pretty much the only ones out there, like, you know, streaming and have a little room for specifically focused on order flow. So I think you're in the right spot. Unfortunately, today, the order flow in Treasuries is not incredibly clear to me. They're a little choppy. It seems like not the best action. When you have it go, you know, well, I'll show you over here. So I'll make this one big. So this is like a one range chart. So every time that it ticks up or down and something trades, it will create a new bar. You see this? 3 ticks up, 3 ticks down, tick up, 3 ticks up, 3 ticks down. It's not good action for scalping. I mean, obviously, if you get one and it goes for you, then great. But you're probably not going to get more than 3. Probably not going to get more than 3 ticks at a time. And, if you're wrong, you're not going to find out until it's too late. And it just is not going to give you a super clear view of the direction. Although I'm thinking at the moment it kind of looks like there is something pushing us up. These bids down here, I think if we ticked back down there, that stuff would probably pull, but that is stronger than that. And based on my past experience, what they tend to do here is they tend to dink around and make you sit in agony until you finally give up. And then when you finally give up, it'll go the direction you wanted it to go. And then if you FOMO win, they'll immediately reverse it on you again. How long have we been in this trade for? 30 minutes? It's only been 30 minutes. That's not that bad. My 30 minutes is about the time that I start to think, okay, it's not going to go. It's time to get out. So those are usually, if I'm in it for more than 30 minutes and I'm not getting like 4 ticks or more, then it's usually not happening. I did get 3 ticks and it reversed, so. I don't know. Oop, there's an uptick and 57 at 14. Ace Trades is taking the short at 29.32.25, huh? See that 4,500 at 14 is not. Doesn't look deterred. I mean, if the 5-year ticks down, it's going to pull, but it's not a good sign. Yeah, Dennis says, like, no complaints here because the spreads are ranging nicely. So would you play spreads on the range and just take, the 4 ticks or whatever that it might give you? Okay, well. Hey, Seth, what do you think of micro E-minis? Do you think they have any value when it comes to trading? I am, obviously we haven't had them yet, so save all judgments until it happens, but I'm really excited for it. I have been practicing the E-mini a little bit. Of course, they stopped me out. Did it give me -3? The sim always gives me -3 when that's not what it would have been in real life. So, um, given the way that it's trading right now, unless we start to get a really strong uptrend and I can take some sort of as she goes sort of a thing, I don't want to. I'm probably going to stay away from this now. I have a core position where I trade tactically on larger time frames. I gotcha. Huh. Okay, so Ace did move his stop. The treasuries are certainly don't look like they're ready to extend lower. I thought that the selling was good. I mean, it looked like it was a good trade, and I shouldn't have held it that long. Shouldn't have held it that long. Should have said, I think in the future, if it gets choppy like that, we're just gonna take the profit because we're starting to get into that time of year, Also depends on my risk exposure across interest rate products. Yeah, okay. See, the main reason why I haven't done more on the spreads is because the commissions and everything. Like I would take a trade, on and sit and wait in it forever, and then only take one tick, and the amount of time that you spent in it and everything wasn't very good, and I felt like that I have a much better idea of which way the outrights are going to go anyways, and since I can make more money on the outrights, I just have been doing that, even though I know that there's some probabilities really in your favor in the spreads. Anyways, I think that the micro, the MES, the mess is going to be fun. And you're totally going to be able to trade. I mean, the robots out there are going to have every incentive to keep the mess in line almost tick for tick with the E-mini. So, why would you? And it's still going to be, what is the word that we use? Cash settled. Yes, it's still going to be cash settled. So I don't think that there's any reason not to trade it if that fits your risk and everything like that. But trading the E-mini can be hard. So that's the downside. I think trading the E-mini is harder than trading treasuries, but so that thing is really really messy, and it really likes to stop you out. And it's pretty hard to ever find a spot where it's just going to hold. Like it's moving down here. I'm seeing a little bit of profit taking at 29, 31, 25, but I have like really hard time knowing if it's going to stop there or not. Do you still trade the 10-year, or do you jump around the 10 and the 30? I've been mostly sticking to the 10. I tend to do much better just sticking to the 10. Well, this is a significant sell there. I think this is my spot. Fair enough. I personally prefer to trade relative value, especially on a larger time frame. This requires a lot of patience and is like watching paint dry at times, however, very lucrative on dislocations which occur frequently enough. Gotcha. Yeah, well, when the spread really moves, you can make money. What's Swisso got? What's he telling me? He thinks that it's going to move down, huh? So this sell right here that just happened in treasuries and the downtick makes me think that they're going to sell. there's still a lot of liquidity below us, so that's where I'm a little hesitant. Maybe if they could punch through a big order like that. But I think that as long as it continues to be really slow and choppy, that I would rather not touch it. But I still think the probability is down. What kind of trader am I? One who has 2 points each morning before breakfast. That's right. The one thing that I can't figure out is, okay, so he usually takes a short, but sometimes he does take a long. And I'm not sure when he does which. There are trades after breakfast that I take at my leisure at. Oh, okay. It seems though that that Ace avoids the volatility around the open in the E-mini, which I think is smart. In fact, the way this thing is going, I think that if I get a quick profit on it, then I'm just going to take it because I'm worried about messing around with the open. Okay, so there was 6K at 14 and it is pulled. All right. So I'm having a hard time getting filled at 29, 31, 25. I'm probably too much on the edge. Now they're trying to make me FOMO into it. And the big order is showing up at 29.32. They did tick back up here in the Treasury. I am surprised, though, at how that pulled. A little suspicious. Little suspicious. You know, I just go with whatever my CME guy says. Go on. Yeah. But I do try to avoid the open after about 15 minutes. There are clear signals, but it depends on how much of a target I'm at. If I make much more than 2 points, I'll take trades later in the day because I'm using house money. Yes, I got you. Okay, so now it's moving against me again, even though it really pulled at 14th. So did I just sell a lure? My guy at the CME screwed me today. Sold 12.5 in the 10-year and had to take 2 tick loss. Oh, you sold 12.5? Oh, Lucas, I'm sorry. That's unfortunate. I really thought that thing was going to continue going. It looked like it was a strong downtrend. It kind of, the way that it just kind of turned into chop here, I think is really kind of disappointing. Okay. Well, they filled me in the E-mini. Is Zerv still treating the Nikkei? So Zerv has been doing a lot with spreads lately. And you know, we've also got our new friend Dennis, who also trades spreads, who I think has given us a lot of good information. So yeah, the spreads are in right now. Spreads have been in for a long time. Actually, my understanding is that most of the profitable, let's say, most of the profitable day traders and treasuries are trading spreads, not outrights. I keep trying to get better at spotting trends, but I guess they're not my type. It's not a trade I would make normally. Yeah. Well, I think the thing with the trend... Observe is now the Bob Slinger. The thing that I've noticed with trends is it's just like, okay, if I can see that the trend is down, I think I think that it's going to move down. I don't see that the trend is down, but let's just say that I was seeing that the trend was down, and I'm saying, okay, I really want to get a pullback and I want to get short here, and then it doesn't give it to you, and you get a strong tick down, and you get forced into taking it. And the liquidity, like the offer, is really stacking up as it ticks down, so that there's just literally no way that you're ever going to get filled. You know, that's kind of how I end up in those as she goes trades. And lately it's been working, but usually it doesn't work. Usually that sell at 12.5 doesn't work, you know? So it's just kind of the thing. But I don't know. With today, we had some downtrend, but for whatever reason, there is still some really strong incentive for them to buy the treasuries. I don't know what it is, but that somebody wants to buy them. And I'm fighting that, and it's no good. Like, just right there, we were still thinking that there was a possibility of a short, and we saw that the big liquidity at 6 pulled, and it ticked down, but then there was no follow through, and it is now 2 ticks higher. The signal for you is not getting filled at limits, and you have to mark it. Spreads are no longer what it is. They're now 7 legs. Have fun when they run against you. Spreads are not easy anymore. You might, Swizzo might be right about that. Because it's true. Because some of the guys that I've had message me with information about how to take spreads were taking spreads with 3 legs. And yeah, you could take one with 7 legs and you can get all sorts of super complicated things. Yeah, so like this right now, Lucas. I mean, I'm in the wrong direction, but think about if you were stalking along right now, and you see that bid at 15 pump up a little bit, right? It's like there are people that want to buy, and they would prefer to buy at 15, but if they don't think that they can buy at 15, then they buy it at 15.5. And sometimes you will just kind of get a feel that that's what's happening. And you can buy into 15.5 as they take it. And if there really is a longer trend with a good target up above you, then they will never go back on it. And if they do, you just take like the -1, right? But it can be more complicated than that sometimes, because then you get this kind of action that we got right now, where it's kind of ranging both ways. And I think that even if you were long, that you would probably still be a little bit frustrated. Like you could have bought at 13 and you waited all that time and you're maybe getting +4, and you're sitting there wondering, should I go for more or should I take it off? And you're probably getting a lot of people that when it moves are taking profits. And somebody is market maker is kind of just moving it back and forth the way, whichever way they feel like stopping people out. And, East Street says setting a stop and putting a chef hat on. So he is actually still short then, I guess. Treasuries still seem to be reacting to what the E-mini is doing. Quick 2 ticks down there, and Treasuries. I thought they would go for 31 in the 31.25 in the 5-year, but UB was having none of it. Yeah. Where should the targets in ZBB? Oh, hold on here. Cool. He didn't send the email out, but I can look here on the ZB. Well, there's this move 146.20. Seems like an okay downside target. And 13 above us. And 16. I have to go a little bit further back for more. There's the 20, 147.20 and ZB above us would also be a target. Yeah. Level 2 is just playing all sorts of games. I don't think that this is good action for us. Where did you buy in? I'm still up for the month, so I'm okay with the loss. We'll take it trade by trade. Never say to yourself, well, okay. Like Ace Trades was saying, if I caught a runner in the morning and then I can take other trades later in the day because I'm playing with house money. So there is a thing to that, right? That when you're doing well, it's good to keep going if you're really, really doing well. But the more that you get, the possibility of that trend continuing decreases and decreases over time, right? So you always got to be aware of that. And I would say that you got to take everything one trade at a time, So you should never sit down and say, well, it doesn't matter if I lose on this trade because, I had a big winner earlier. I mean, you can say that afterwards and you can say it's okay for me to take another trade because I already have some profit in there. But always focus on doing your best in the trade that you're in, right? Right now in this one, I feel like that we could get a down move. But even if we did, I feel like that the entry in this was really bad. I got caught in a lure. And the action doesn't appear good to me in Treasuries. So like, am I trading this the best? I don't think so. And I don't want to say to myself, well, if it stops me out, it stops me out. I don't think so. I think that we want to try and manage this the best that we can. And that might be the -2 here. See, the E-mini's not cooperating with me. Yep, and you still have to take a good probability trade. So I think the place where I've screwed up today, I think that the signals that I took were typically tend to be good probability, but I'm being way too patient with them. Like that one at 14, as soon as 14 half went bid, I should have just puked. See, Swiss still thinks bearish. He's showing it in the bund too. I don't know. I'm probably going to have to sit on my hands here for a little bit. You see this right here? Like I'm trying to get filled at 15. Since it's not happening. There's 2,000 in front of me and only 27 have traded into it. Yep. Now they are absorbing a lot at 15.5. But see, they're creating the pressure. There was the sell, and then they pushed it back up, and they used the liquidity to force them to take it to mark it out at a price that they didn't want to. If it's a trend, if there's a clear trend, then that's when you want to take it as she goes. There's no clear trend right now. Well, I take that back. I mean, there's a little bit of a trend up, but it's not like a super strong trend, right? So probably the best thing is for us to just stay out. And I shouldn't have taken that second trade. Well, the liquidity on the offer side still looks weak all the way up to the high. And it has been building up behind us as we move up. And the E-mini continues to sell before the open. But let's see what the open impulse in ES ends up being. VIX sucks. I tell you what, the VIX is incredibly low in it. Oof. Okay. So they're perking up a little bit here. The first impulse appears to be a buy. It's not super strong. Not seeing a lot of financial news this morning on Twitter. They're mostly just talking politics. Arguing about whether or not Democrats should give up on the impeachment thing or not. Okay, so it was a little bit undecided at first, but then they did sell. And they're towards the... Well, they've just broke a new low of the extended session low. Still going in the E-mini and pushing treasuries up. In fact, it's starting to look like a little bit more of a dramatic of a sell. Well, there's some stuff here at 24.25. Maybe 29.20. Durable goods are a notorious fade number in treasuries? Really? I've never heard that. Let's... I don't think that the core durable goods orders is like a typically a significant number. So we don't have any more news today, though. So that was a little bit more accelerated buying there in the treasuries. Quite a bit more on that move as the E-mini sold. I think this is a pivot. Yes, not a pivot. Pivot means like a more significant thing for some people. So I always want to use that word. Let's say swing. It looks like somewhere in this area it might swing and pull back a little bit. Today could be the canary moment. Says zero hedge. South Korea's GDP miss was a bad one. The Shanghai Composite fell 2.4%, bringing its week-to-date performance to negative 4.5. Sweden's Riksbank surprised the market by how dovish it was. The euro made a new low for the year versus the dollar. It raises the question of whether we are meant to be squared, and the answer is way too early to answer in the affirmative if you're talking about financial markets. Segueing in the midst of all this news, you can probably afford to be if you are a trader and prepared to do your job. Yeah. Yeah. This whole thing is like the treasuries are just awfully high. And the buying just seems to be relentless. You see that iceberg catching it at 16.5? Now stacking. I think that they're going to try and force them up through 17. E-mini. It did make a little bit of a pivot there, and they got slammed back down really quickly, didn't they? Okay. See, now they're doing it at 17. I'm going to flip it. There's going to be more on the bid than they offer. And then we'll see if people start flooding into this one too. Also got lots of compliments on my banana waffles. So there you go. See? And then they took it up. Stack. Okay, this one at 18 is probably not going to pull. So they're going to have to really, really stack to get that one. Nope. Okay. But if the E-mini goes, oh, by the way, the 6J is like really moving up. Ooh, okay. So they just traded down into that, and I saw something happen in the E-mini at the same time. And I'm seeing something happen in the deltas. This kind of little wiggly thing here. Hmm. A lot of absorbing at 17. Yeah. Okay. Not stacking at 17.5 though. Five-year doesn't look ready to go yet. Yeah. There we go. Okay, so delta wise, a lot of buying here in the E-mini at this area. I didn't see like a strong, like clear reversal signal that I've been wondering about, but definitely some volume in here buying. If they push it down to new lows, it's going to be really ugly in the E-mini. Because that's a good 6,000 contracts. There's a good 6,000 contracts long here in this area. Okay, see, now they're going for it. Hmm. I don't know if the E-mini is going to reverse here or not. It seems like Treasuries aren't sure either. I'm a little tempted to go long. I can see why people are going long here, but I think that if they don't get their long, that it's going to be really, really ugly. And there's an 89 there at 18. That's a lot. Well, look at that. So they brought that down to the low of the day way too easily. Okay, so there's maybe perhaps some profit taking in ES. Okay, now they're going to go through it. It needs to go a little bit further than that to trigger stops. Okay. See, Treasuries want to go for it, but they're not able to stack up enough there at 17.5 yet. Okay. Now some stop losses. That wasn't super traumatic though. Okay, look at that 34, 35. Stacking on the bid at 17.5. So now they're squeezing them. Let's see how many we could trade at 18. Ooh, ES is really, yep, it's getting pretty ugly. Now it's 4,000 in the 10-year. There you go. Okay, so they traded all 6. More than that, in fact. Ooh. Wow, there's big ones on both sides of this. I didn't like that uptick and downtick again in the ZN, but ES is kind of toying around with the idea of maybe taking another leg. Wow. Okay, 4K on the offer. Someone is definitely selling up here or taking profits. It's been a while since I've seen a price be this stubborn. Well, the E-mini is slowed down enough that it might turn, and the treasuries seem to be flipping around, so yeah. But I think I could do that. So this is kind of interesting change because today is the first time in a long time that the iceberg on at the top of the trend didn't get busted through. They didn't trade 18.5. That's significant. And see, now they're offering it down the other way. So I'm quite surprised that they didn't let me out at break even there. I'm too slow. Hmm. So you can see here in the E-mini, I don't like the price, but look at the cumulative delta. Very much buying the dip. But are they going to get slaughtered, or is it gonna pull it out here? Hmm. E-mini's not turning back around for us. They're actually trading quite a bit here at 24. All right, well, that's pretty awful in the treasuries today, isn't it? I don't think that was necessarily bad signals. Well, this one was, but I think it was more uh, not being as nimble as we should be, not managing it very well. Because we got some good MFE on all of those. I'm getting some big icebergs in the 5-year too. Oh man. Iceberg City out here. 4K versus 6K at between 16 and 16 and a half. How's that minus 140? That's not calculating that right. Should be like 153, right? And they beat out the 16. Those buyers, though, aren't really stepping out of the way. So I'm not so sure if they're going to go and just push back down to the low of the day or not. Hmm. No. I don't think that was what I thought it was. Bunch of cells just came into the 5-year. Did you see that? Trying to clear it at 147? But it iceberged. I am seeing a lot of volume right there. Good grief, children. Okay. So now E-mini back to where it was. Or sorry, Treasuries back to where they were. that I get stopped at 16. That really sucks. It's really frustrating to me thinking back at everything that happened there. Um, I wasn't wrong on these two trades. I mean, this one got 4 ticks of favorable excursion. So when I was looking for, some continuation, it's totally there. It's just like it was only there for a second and I didn't take the profit. And then I let it go all the way the other way. So not only am I really a little bit off balance or not in sync with the market, but it seems to me like I'm just not executing my exits very well. And given that it's Thursday, well, next week we got FOMC, right? But after that, I think that we got to really make a big adjustment. Hmm. You'll see they're plowing through these bids no problem, even though there's quite a bit of liquidity sitting there. Okay, that one they traded down on 28. And they're actually at new lows in cumulative delta too. Let's see what happens. We're kind of on the edge here, probably. How do you read your system? Well, so what I'm looking at right now, I don't know, to go through like the whole system, it's because it's always a little bit different, right? But the thing that I'm watching right now in the treasuries is that we've had this big stack of liquidity here. And I want to know when they go through that, how much actually trades there. If they trade through that and only 1,500 trade, that would tell me something significant. That this liquidity that's below us is kind of fake. At the moment, though, I think that they are kind of indicating that that might be as far as it goes. Right? So here it's like, if you wanted to buy, I think you would do it right here. And 7K can be a good amount to hold it. On the other hand, the E-mini is looking pretty strong and has been pushing through some pretty good liquidity. And it looks like they've had a significant turnaround down there at the bottom. Would like to have gotten filled much lower, but of course it never happened. Liquidity is available to open a trade there. No, okay, so when I say liquidity, what I mean is that somebody has put a limit offer to buy at 14.5. Okay. Yep, I think I should have taken that at 15, but I didn't catch it. Somebody has put in, there are 7,680 contracts looking to buy at 14.5. That's what that means right here. I'll highlight it for you. See that? In fact, there's a couple of these prices that are pretty big. 665, right? It's quite a bit. Up here, there's a 7, okay? So in order for us to get through there, they've got to trade 7,000 contracts, which is a lot. It's a decent amount. Unlikely to just up and trade that all of a sudden, right? So if we did make 14.5 go offer and less than 6,000 contracts traded to actually make it happen, then that means that some of the people buying there canceled their orders. So number would describe gapping. The word I use for gap would mean something completely different. But it just means that the liquidity, there's been a change in the liquidity, right? There was 6,000 people looking to buy there, and now something has happened. Oh, sorry, it was 7,000, wasn't it? Or 7,000. Now something has happened. 2,000 of them pulled the change, right? If we trade through it and it's a lot less than 6, then that means that there really wasn't 6,000 people looking to buy there. And that's going to change a lot of people's minds, and so we might go further. All of these bids right here could potentially be, not as much as they appear. It's unlikely, but it can happen. Okay, so there's a tick up, right? Okay. So because I'm seeing the stack there, and because I saw an easy fill, I'm going to take a long here and see if it goes. Okay, the E-mini took up for another little leg there, so that's not helpful. And there's a decent amount on the offer here on us now. So the column in the middle is the number that traded. So when I said, if we trade down and less than 6,000 trade there, you'll see how many traded there in this little box right here, right? So far, 2 have traded into it, right? When we traded back down, well, you can't see it anymore, but you can see that 1302, right? So we ticked up, and then it took 1302 to trade back down to 150, which is pretty standard actually. About 1,500 is what, if it's balanced, what it can take to make it tick up or down. If we tick back up, there's 3102 on there right now, which is a little thick. Things are getting a little thick. That makes us, okay, so you see it was 3,000 and now it's 1,400. That's probably robots changing their mind because they just saw the E-mini come back 4 ticks. Okay. Tick back up, only 965 to trade. Right? So what did that mean? That 3,000 that was stacked on there wasn't real. Or at least they changed their mind. So good. So now what are the chances of this 4,000 to 5,500 at 15.5 pulling? That's kind of what we're looking at. Yes, those other columns seem to show the real transaction data. Exactly. So the columns in the middle are really the important ones. But anything that seems unusual or out of place, I want to take note of. Like the one that I missed up here was I could see some pressure where they were really stacking up the bid and they were going to try and force people up. And there was a really big offer up at 18. But then when they got up to 18, like a ton traded up there, tons back and forth. And then they were able to make it go offer very, very quickly. And I wasn't able to get out, not even at break even, which was super crazy. But, that was telling us there was somebody up there willing to sell a ton. And they really killed it. So you read this like a footprint chart. Yeah, totally. Well, and there's the whole thing with the footprint chart where there's like the numbers across, you can totally do it that way, yeah. Yes, because I'm looking to see a place where there's some sort of aberration between the balance of these four forces. Right now, what I see is some support. Some support, but they're not really going far from it, are they? But 2369 by 510 is the resistance. Yeah. So the one thing though is like on a footprint chart, because a footprint chart might be showing me like 30 minutes worth of trade data. This one, if it ticks up, the that middle column will reset. See right here, it's only showing 8 now this time. So why that allows me to know every time it ticks up or down, how much is it taking for them to push it. So it's very, very short term based. So if I see, 2369 by 800 or whatever it is, you just got to remember that that can change quickly. But it can just kind of give you little clues. Okay, so the E-mini is pulling back quite a bit. I'm also looking, so like for instance, right now, you can see that the bid is the smaller of the two numbers on the inside right now, right? They're trading back and forth across there. For it to tick up at 15.5, you're probably going to see a lot more stack on 15 than 1500. You're probably going to see 15 stack to like 2000 or 3000 before they start to hit into 15.5. And then they're either going to eat away all the liquidity of 15.5, or some of that 4,000 will pull. Probably some of that 4,000 will pull. Yeah, I see that is one feature that would be nice, is keep the rows alive forever after telling all the transaction info at these points. Yeah, there actually is a column that you can use to do that never resets. But I personally don't find it useful because I can just remember, And if it's trading back and forth there, then, a lot of that is probably just noise. Okay, so you can see now they've stacked 2,000. There's still about 4,000 here on the offer, but they have pulled a little bit. A few hundred contracts have pulled. Pendulum defense, I'm not familiar with that particular term. Okay, E-mini is moving down. I don't know if they're going to make a new low. You can see here in the E-mini there is some liquidity looking to catch it. So down in here, there's a couple of people down here looking to buy it. Doesn't mean that it's not going to go through them, but it tells us something, right? If it goes through them and it goes lower, then these treasuries are going to shoot up there. But if it doesn't, we might not get a whole lot out of our long. We've been here now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And 15 is the middle. So that's actually telling me to add one. So it's stacking and pulling between 2,000 and 3,015 now. Okay. So E-mini took a significant tick down there and it ticked up. How much traded? 35.61. Okay. So those offers didn't pull. But that's kind of significant on both sides, right? That means that there was a lot of market buyers really willing to buy it there. I can see there was a couple of block orders there in doing it as well. But the offers didn't pull. So now, if the buyers decide to take another tick, or if we start to see pulling at 16, that's a decent number of contracts that are going to have to puke 2 ticks higher, right? There's usually 1 to 3 ticks higher is where a lot of those guys are going to get out. And the bid stacking up behind us, 37.06, is really good too. So all of those signs are good signs for our long. If offers don't pull, those are exits or strong short moves, right? Well, I mean, the honest truth is there's no way to know for sure, right? But you can kind of guess. You can say, well, if I was long at, where did we go to? Oh, 15 was that. So if, you say all of the people that were long at 15, where are they going to get out at? Are they all going to get out at 15.5? Well, there's going to be some robots that are definitely going to get out at 15.5, What else can they be classified as? Well, it could be somebody willing to open up a new position short at that location. Can totally. But you're right. I do tend to think of the limit orders. Wow, so the E-mini is going to go for a new low. Holy shiz. Wow. That was quite dramatic. Okay, so we are seeing now the scenario 1 that I drew out earlier, right? There was a bunch of people willing to buy it there, and they just cut right through them like a hot knife through butter. Anyways, I do tend to think of limit orders as exits, especially when I'm seeing a lot trade there. But you never know. Like when we were up here at 18, there was like a big old 8K, and they traded up into it and actually threw it, and it iceberged a ton. And not all of those people that were going short on the limit were exits. There was a couple of people exiting there, but I think that somebody really, really big went very, very much short at that location. Okay, that was a really dramatic move in the E-mini. That was actually maybe a little bit too dramatic. Thanks for holding the door. So I don't like that we had some strong stacks, but that their level 2 is playing games with us now. It's stacking between 3,000 and 1,500. That's not a very clear signal to me. It kind of makes me unsure about what's going to happen. And the way that things have been going today, I think that if, we get uncertainty like that, that it's probably good to take out. Portsy says I'm up plus 17R. Is that so? Did you go short in the E-mini? Is that what you mean? It's 17 handles. Oh, 17 times your risk. Wow. Yeah, that's good. That's way good. Which is minus 3 points in NQ. I got you. Man, I don't think that I'm ever going to have the heart for NQ. And that thing is crazy. Okay, so now something that I'm noticing here is that I'm 450 in line, and they've got 2,000 stacked behind me. I think the possibility of getting 400 more contracts to trade into 16.5 are pretty good. But I also think that there's a good chance that a lot of that 2,000 will pull if there's any more down movement in the E-mini. I think he's saying that yeah, okay. So you see that at 16.5? Okay, 5,000. So somebody, I think that that's probably some profit taking. So, but this is where I'm saying that like we don't really know. If that's profit taking, then in order for us to continue to move up, you're going to have to get additional people deciding to go long in here. Maybe some people that happen to still be short, right? I don't know how many of those would still be out there, but maybe there's somebody that's still short that could puke into 17, 17.5, 18. Certainly could if the E-mini keeps going, right? But what if this was somebody that is taking a short at 16.5? Well, then that means that there's 6,000 contracts that could puke into 17 and 17.5, and that helps us, you know? But I don't really know how much of that was new positions or people taking positions off. The only way that you can really know is that, you know, at the end of the week, you can look at the commitment of traders report and see how many positions were in, and you can see if people added or took off positions. But, you know, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. Well, the way that the E-mini is arranging down here at that bottom, that is the sort of a thing that kind of makes you think, oh, it's reversing, it's coming back, and then they just smack it down again. Okay, 16F has gone off for a couple of times. I think I took the right thing on that. Now, see, now it says, so there's something wrong with the jigsaw profit window because that should be negative 96. Yeah, sorry, 93. There we go. Now it's correct. I don't know how it calculates that, but whatever. So let's just go back through what I did today. I mean, I've already said this before, but like, there's a bit more people watching today than normal, and there's probably a couple of new people. And I know at some point there was like 32 people, although I think a lot of people quit when they saw that trade like went really, really poorly. But what's been happening to me is I'm seeing some momentum and I'm seeing some spots and they're working out, but there's not a ton in them. And so here in this one, I got 4 favorable ticks to the downside. I thought it was going to continue. It wasn't. I should have taken it off. I didn't. And then I lost 3. You know, that one actually should be -2 in real life, but that, you know, I traded sim today and it gave me a tick of slippage as an FU, but there was enough liquidity there. It would have been -2. Anyways, so the problem that I think I'm having is that I'm not taking profits fast enough. Today appears to be pretty range bound day, and it's only giving me like 3 ticks in some cases, and that's I shouldn't have been looking for more. Okay, this one here at 14, I was strict. So that one, I think I should have only let myself go -1 against it, but I have a real problem with that one. That one gets me all the fucking time. Yeah. And this one at 17, again, it was good, but there was some iceberging up there, and we're having a range bound 8, so I should have taken it off. I got +3, should have been happy with that, but wasn't. And then I tried to get out at break even and it didn't let me out. So my entries were okay. I mean, if I'm getting 3 ticks of MFE, that means that it was a good trade. But I just didn't manage it right. That's what's happening. Yeah, Lone Chaos says it's hard to stream and trade at the same time, so props to you. Well, I appreciate it. I mean, it's kind of a double-edged sword. I think that talking out loud can really help. Like, when I was trying to explain to Ryan, okay, I have a position here and here's why I'm holding it on. And what I'm seeing appears to be positive. That talking out loud can really help you stay focused. For me, it really helps me stay focused. But it can be a double-edged sword because, it's one thing if you're just trading sim and you're the only one that ever knows what you did. You can do all sorts of, you can either be really, really stupid and just say, it doesn't matter. Or you can, just not feel any stress and just kind of take the trades you want and do well and be like, hey, I'm really good. But then when some people are watching, no matter what, it's a little bit of stress, I think, especially when you're like, because I don't think it's a stress like, oh, I'm so embarrassed that I lost. Because I am, anytime that I lose 3 times in a row, I'm embarrassed. But it's kind of more like, oh, there's people that are watching that are maybe new and they're going to see that and be like, this guy's not a very good trader, or maybe this method of trading isn't a very good method of trading. And then they don't pursue it because of me. And, maybe they missed out on a method that would have been really profitable for them because I was being dumb that day, So that's the double-edged sword. Seth is analyzing a lot. Well, I'm not happy with the way that I traded today. So, I'm not going to say I'm unhappy with the way that I traded today. I had some really good and really bad, right? But I'm unhappy with the resulting performance. And so anytime that happens, I talk a lot. We talk a lot when that starts to happen. Yes, Ryan says, nice, good thinking. Yeah, I'm working on not taking trades. Yes, that's a key thing. And this is another thing that bothers me about today is that if we come back over here to the chart and I make this thing big, okay, I took a trade down in here. It was at 16, I think it was. No, it was at... No. Oh, it was right here. Okay. I can zoom in even more than that. Okay, so I took a trade down here at 14. Okay. It went down. Okay. And then it started chopping like this. Okay. So if I'm only getting +3 on a trade and it's starting to chop on me, the thing is that as of late, you'd hold on to that one and it would just creep down. But it wasn't. So I could have said that first one, okay, that happens and hopefully I get out at only -1. But if this action, you don't want to be in that. If you're scalping, you don't want to be in that because that's just likely to stop you out. Okay. I took another trade after that at 14, right? That was this right here. That was a bad trade. It was still choppy, so I shouldn't have taken that trade. This one's bad. That was a mistake. That is a mistake. And so those candles are so uniform, it's ugly. Yeah. So I have it set up. It's a 1-range chart. So every time that it ticks up or down, you can see. So like this gap right here, the way that this gap happens is, okay, they were trading 12.5 and 13. So some had gone into 12.5 and some had gone into 13. And then they traded into 13.5. And then before anybody could sell back into 13, they ticked up again and they traded at 14. So you got 2 ticks in one direction. That's what that tells you. And it's important. It's when it's choppy like that, that means that liquidity isn't holding, and there's a good chance that if you have a position anywhere within there that you could be underwater just like that. That's no good. That's not fun. Now, on the other hand, I don't know if there's a good example here or not. Oh, sure there is. Like right here. So sometimes when they make a 2-tick move like that, that becomes a key level that they will like to come back and retest. If they come back, that's very often that you see right here, like they did it, they probed it by 2, and then they're like, okay, whatever. So that's why I do it as a 1-range chart, because it's like a perfect record of every uptick and downtick. And so I can remember now. I can look back and I'm like, oh yes, I remember that one. And I remember that. And I remember this is when I got in and I got screwed. Yeah. But it is kind of funky looking in it. Man, what is that? I would not give I don't give my kids loud things like that. So where did they get that from? Anyways, so it is time for me to get going, but thanks for watching. Hope that was helpful for you new guys. Remember, sometimes I trade really shitty, and I don't tend to trade very well this time of year. So keep that in mind. And yeah, I will catch you guys tomorrow, Friday. I don't know if I'll take very many trades, but I'll see you then. And in the meantime, stay profitable.